Okay, so we have the last presenter, Mr. Francis Tercero, and your research title is Factors Affecting the Use of Arellano University LMS by Selected ComSci Students. Sige, your time starts now.
Okay, sir. So good afternoon, audience. My name is Francis Tercero, and I'll be presenting my defense on the factors affecting use of Arellano University's learning management system by selected computer science students of Arellano University, Lagarda. Okay, so let's go look at the contents. So the contents of this, we'll go through the introduction and background of the study, significance of study, conceptual framework, if the time allows, statement of the problem, definition and terms, scope and limitations of research, review of related materials, research design methodology. So we have a few things to cover in today's part and today's defense. So let's look first at the introduction and background of the study. So in the world today, there's a growing trend in using LMS or learning management systems within academic institutions as an effort to improve learning and teaching techniques. Universities in the UK, the US, and Australia all have varying forms of LMS systems for academic activities because these systems bring many benefits to students, academic staff, and educational institutions themselves. In the local perspective, however, within the Philippines, the concept of of an e-learning environment is still in its early stages with universities such as the University of the Philippines, UP, University of Santo Tomas, UST, and De La Salle University, using some form of an LMS for use in online courses. With the internet and technology and e-learning growing at a fast pace, it is very important, or imperative, some would say, that more research be done on this topic, as without further analysis, students, teachers, school administrators, developers, and future researchers will be unable to have a good handle on the factors that affect the ability for students to learn. So the significance of the study. So it is aimed, the study, to provide invaluable knowledge on the factors that affect the usage of Arellano University's learning management system by selected students in the computer science department. For the students, factors that affect usage of the LMS may influence positively or negatively academic performance and view on e-learning in the present and in the future. For teachers, results from this research may present to them factors affecting students in using the LMS, and as such, work around these factors to give students a better learning experience.
Okay, can you just enumerate the beneficiaries of your research? So you have the students,
Yes, sir.
the
The students,
teachers.
the teachers, the school administrators, developers, and future researchers.
Okay, you can continue to the next part of the research.
Yes, sir. Okay, so the conceptual framework is that the report bases itself on factors that affect the usage of the learning management system for students, which fall under the umbrella of technological factors for some students. Technological factors that affect the usage of LMS is Internet Connectivity Experience, or ICE for short.
Okay,
And it can be described.
move on to the next slide after the
Yes,
conceptual
sir.
framework.
Okay, statement of the problem. So this report aimed at identifying the factors that affect the usage of the learning management system
Okay.
by selected students within the computer science department of Arellano University, Lagarda. To be more specific, it intended to answer the following questions. What are the existing factors that the students face that is affecting usage of the LMS? So existing factors. What other difficulties did students have with the usage of the LMS that affected them? What measures are currently in place to lessen these effects that hinder usage of the LMS by students, and what possible methods can be proposed to be added onto existing measures to further lessen the effects that hinder student usage of the LMS. So these could be, for example, upgrades onto existing internet service infrastructure.
For a while. So for SOP number 4, when you have sub SOPs under a particular number, you use 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. So please take note of that. Anyway, I can already see that it is reflective of the objective of your research, which is factors affecting the use of Arellano University LMS, which falls under what particular SOP?
This would be the existing factors that the students face that is affecting the
SOP
usage of
number?
LMS. SOP number one, sir.
SOP number 1. Okay, good. Next.
Number one and two. Number one and two.
Sige, next part.
Okay, sir. Okay, and then finally, better technical and academic support and additional functions to allow for reporting of problems by students.
Okay.
Okay, so definition of terms. So just a few. Arellano University Learning Management System, for short AULMS. It's a website application that is used by
Okay.
students at Arellano
Sige, you
University.
don't need to read because you just need to criticize the ano. Now, go back to the definition of terms.
Yes, sir.
How do you select the definition of terms that should be included in this part of your research?
Well, I selected these definition of terms to be included in this portion of the research report in terms of how I use them and the prevalence they came to in the report. So how often they would come across. And I assume that some readers might be unable to get the basic definition of their own. So I made some definitions in terms of the context of
Okay,
these phrases
so
and words.
first of all, you should include, if it is included, the variables reflected in your title. So, factors affecting the use of Arellano LMS. LMS should be included, so it's there, right?
Yes, po, sir.
Right? And then, computer science students, the respondents, since it is reflected in your title, should also be included in your definition of terms. And then, aside from the variables, technical terms should also be considered in the definition of terms. So, these are terms that are not familiar, especially to the panel or to the critics that would be reading your paper. Sige, next part.
Okay, po, sir. So again, would you like to change for the definition of computer science students and po, sir?
Anyway, it's okay. The definition is there. But when you formulate the definition, it should be operational, not lexical. Not taken
Operational.
from the dictionary or any online dictionary. The definition should be based on how you use it in the research.
I tried to do that, sir.
Okay,
this
okay.
portion.
Next part.
Okay. So anyway, review of related literature and studies. So this focuses on previous studies by Garcia 2017, and factors that were described by him were internet connectivity experience (ICE), perceived usefulness or PU, and perceived ease of use or PEOU. So this was made further research into this as well. So ICE described as the performance of internet connection in terms of speed and reliability, which affects users' experience.
Okay,
And,
another.
studies was considered important.
What particular elements did you use regarding literature and studies? Are all of these literature or are all of them studies?
Most of these were studies, sir.
Mhm.
Previous studies by previous researchers, because it was really there was a great difficulty in finding relevant literature to this topic, as it's still in its development within some countries. So,
Okay, anyway,
was-
that's the keyword that I was waiting for you to mention. Relevant. It does not necessarily need to be exactly the same as the research that you are conducting. Okay, next part.
Yes, po, sir. Okay, so the research design and methodology, methodology. So this portion will discuss the research methods and procedures followed by the researcher in order to answer the main topic of determining what factors affect the usage of the LMS by third-year computer science students of Arellano University. The report used the quantitative method with the usage of a survey questionnaire for third-year computer science students at Arellano University through the use of Google Forms. In terms of population and samples, 23 students at the third-year level were surveyed out of 24 students, according to the Rausoff sample size calculator, as this number was considered the minimum recommended size of the survey as to get the correct result, compared to conducting a survey with a large population, which can result in a small percentage of students responding to the survey. Now, the research instrument that was to be used was a 20-item multiple choice questionnaire on Google Forms, and construction of the questionnaire took place on the same
Okay,
website.
next. Let's go to your let's start with the design and methodology. What method and
Yes.
design did you use?
I use po, sir, the quantitative
Quantitative method. And what design?
Uh, multiple choice questionnaires, sir.
You use the quantitative method and then
Yes, sir.
descriptive, right?
Yes,
Quantitative,
sir.
descriptive. And then the instrument that you use is what?
The instrument that was used was the 20-item multiple choice questionnaire on Google
A
Form, on the Google
questionnaire.
Phone platform.
Okay. How many respondents do you have?
Due to COVID lockdown requirements, we were unable to uh, pass out these forms because of lack of validation. But if it was allowed, I would have had 23 students out of a total of 24 third-year computer
So the
science students.
population of your study is 23.
Uh, 23, yes.
The
But
population.
yes, sir.
The sample.
Is 24 students, all in
Oh,
all.
why is that so? The
Uh,
population is the biggest ano.
oh, sorry. It was the opposite. Sorry. So
Ah.
the population is 24 students in the computer science faculty department,
And
and then
then the
there's only
sample.
23 in the sample form.
How did you identify 23 as the sample? What did you use?
As I mentioned earlier, po, sir, I used the Ralph Soft sample size
Is
calculator,
that
which
RALSoft or RAWSoft?
Rao
RAWSoft
Soft.
calculator. So you actually entered the value of 24 and then
Yes,
the
sir.
value that came out is 23.
Yes, po, sir. Using the default values on the
Yes.
Rao sample size calculator,
Mm.
that was the result of 23 students should be surveyed to keep a to get a positive or so to speak correct result. Sorry from
Okay,
the survey.
sige. Next part.
Okay, so scope and limitations of the research. As I mentioned before, uh, there were some limitations to this research, particularly in the use of surveys. So I was unable to perform surveys and questionnaires on students' experience on the LMS due to health and safety protocols enacted during the COVID-19 outbreak of this year. As such, the report, in most of its research, is mostly based on previous research conducted by other studies and factors were best applied to what is affecting third year computer science students in terms of LMS usage.
Okay. Mr. Tercero, what is your course?
Computer science po, sir.
Computer science. What is the rationale of your study? Why did you choose this particular topic?
Because I believe that there can be more to improve, more to be done to improve not only just the usage of the LMS by computer science students, but also the vast majority of all sectors of, say, Arellano University and even other universities out there, sir.
What particular prevalent problem do you see relevant or related to the use of the LMS?
To me, I believe that the biggest problem with the LMS is sometimes it is unwieldy and difficult to use by people who are less experienced with technological, so to speak, gadgets.
Is this
Because
in the side of the interface?
more so than that, yes, sir. It's mostly the interface as well because it's not clear cut. For example, when I first used the LMS, I was pretty confused as to where I went for my courses. If I wanted to find my grades, most often than not, teachers won't put them on the LMS website. It was mostly on different parts, or I would have to ask them personally. And also, some students are completely new to the sort of e-learning platform, sir. So I believe there was a great importance to the study. So,
Okay. So, thank you. And before you go,
yes,
I
sir.
would like to inform you that the the defense is recorded. And would you give your consent if this will be used as a sample for under the YouTube platform for other
Well,
students?
consider me honored, sir.
Okay,
I'd be
so
honored.
I just want to get that on record so that it would not pose any ethical standards once it's already posted. So you agree, yes or no?
Yes, sir. I would be
Okay,
honored.
sige. Thank you, Mr. Tercero. You're excused
No,
and thank you very much.
no problem, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.